Welcome to the Better World Humans podcast, Kayden. Thanks for joining me. How are you doing right now?
I'm doing good, living life, enjoying quarantine, staying healthy, sitting in my room. Lucky to be chatting here with you today.
Haha, sweet. So let's tell the listeners a little bit more about yourself and your health journey.
Yeah, so for you guys who don't know me, my name is Kayden Echols, and I'm a certified health coach. Um, a little bit about my health journey. It started kind of a while ago, back when I was a freshman in high school. I watched my parents reclaim their health. My dad lost 70 pounds and my mom lost 65 pounds. And I didn't really understand the implications that this would have for me. All I knew is I had parents that ultimately wanted to start doing everything with me, going on hikes, playing catch. It's kind of weird. But I didn't really understand the implications that, what nutrition meant for me until I got into college. And during my freshman year, you hear people joke about the freshman 15 all the time. And I felt like I was invincible to that because I was a 3-sport athlete coming out of high school. And I just thought that I worked out too much to really put on weight like that. Fast forward a year, I found myself 20 pounds heavier. So I guess we can call it the freshman 20. And I was just at a really low place when it came to my self-esteem and my energy levels. And I knew I needed to do something else. And meanwhile, I had seen my parents help over 150,000 people get healthy. And so I knew I needed to reach out to seek for some help for myself to help get myself healthy because I knew the trajectory that I was on. And so I was able to lose 20 pounds by getting my nutrition dialed in. And now I've found ways to help that fuel my fitness goals. I like to call myself a fitspiration, but really I just love fitness. And so it's been awesome how nutrition's been able to help me achieve those goals and to really take my health to the next level.
Absolutely. So was there like a moment in time when you said you like gained these 20 pounds that you like kind of looked at yourself or describe kind of how you were feeling that like really motivated you to want to change?
Yeah. So honestly, it was that personal feeling of, I don't feel worthy. I knew what I had looked like in the past in high school and when I was younger. And I was at a point where I just looked like I was bloated. I make these jokes all the time that like I felt like the Michelin man. My cheeks were puffing out, my stomach was puffing out, and I just didn't feel good. And it was in that moment, at the end of my freshman year when I really looked at myself and I just said, dude, you can do better than this. Like you have seen the example that your family's presented for you and working out isn't enough. Like you need to do something to change. So that was kind of the pivotal moment for me, was just getting that year and just realizing, wow, this is where you're at right now. If I don't do something now, I'm going to be really far gone in a couple years from now.
Right. So you kind of got off to, it was like a preemptive measure, you didn't fall too far off the track, but you had a higher standard for yourself that you wanted to hold yourself to, which is what really drove you to do that.
Yeah, exactly. And I just wanted to feel more productive. Like I didn't want to do anything. Like I was starting to lose my motivation to even go to the gym because I'm going to the gym and I'm killing myself and I'm not seeing any results. I'm gaining more weight. And so that was really frustrating for me.
Right. And I think that's a big thing that a lot of people struggle with is that they go so hard in the gym or whatever it is that they're trying to tackle what to lose weight. And it's like super frustrating when you're not seeing results. And then you take a look at the nutrition side and can you explain a little bit further about like kind of the science behind how nutrition really helps with that?
Yeah. So in regards to the science, most people kind of look at working out as the ends to getting healthy. Um, you know, that if they want to get healthy or they want to lose some weight, that they need to exercise it off. But kind of going to the science, that exercise has kind of proved itself time and time again that it's ineffective for weight loss. And especially for someone who's seriously overweight, it can almost be dangerous. Um, especially asking someone who is out of shape or carrying an extra 50 pounds to go jogging or to lift weights to do massive hit workouts can be a recipe for disaster. And a lot of times that leads to other injuries, in their back, their neck, their knees. So when it comes to the science as, about fueling those workouts, about making them more effective, you got to, when you go to the gym, you got to know that you're breaking down muscle so that you can gain muscle. You're not necessarily going there to burn fat. So you need to give your body the fuel that it needs to gain that muscle. And so, especially with the people that I work with, is majority of the time, I begin by helping them get towards a healthy weight through nutritional intervention. Once they reach that goal, I utilize a movement plan that's like customized to wherever they're at and their health, weight, and fitness. But it really ultimately begins by activities that help them learn to maintain that goal weight that they reached, and then progress towards greater and greater goals until they can keep elevating their optimal health. And at that point, that's when I start using nutrition to um, match their caloric, the kind of the caloric. Trying to find the word for it, but basically just how many calories they're burning in a day. I try to meet that activity level. Um, but yeah, that's kind of how the science works in that, in regards to fitness and improving your fitness.
Right. So you're really like serving people in their nutrition, and you know, to tell the listeners, like, you were my health coach and you helped me lose 50 pounds, and the program helped me lose like specifically like 30 pounds, because before I was doing
Yeah,
killing myself in the gym on the bike. But to really get
yeah,
off that last little bit of weight, like, I had to really get my nutrition right. So can
right.
you touch more on, how you serve people with nutrition and be kind of just like an inspiration and encouraging coach?
For sure. Yeah. So, just in a similar way that, you and I connected, it came from a place where you were tired of killing yourself, and, you kind of got to a point where you had plateaued. So, as a health coach, I'm able to serve people by showing them what's possible. And I'm able to serve people by helping them get through struggles that they can have. Now, nutrition is a huge component of what I do, but more so, what I do is I help them get their mind right. Because this guy, if we don't get it right, the weight or the goals that we have for ourselves and being healthy, they're only short term. But if we don't get our mind right, that's ultimately the biggest way, that you help someone create lifetime optimal health for themselves, is by helping them get their mind healthy. So a big way that I serve people is I help them take their current relationship with food, and I help them create new ones and install new habits so that they can set themselves up for a trajectory to be healthy for a lifetime. So that's been one of the coolest ways that I've been able to help people. We work through an education system that one goes over that relationship with food, helps them set up new habits, helps them install it. Specifically, we work with nutrition, so we educate you on your nutrition, but we also are there to support you through that, and then we plug you into a community of people who are all on the same journey as you, as whoever is trying to get healthy, and then we work you towards creating those lifetime habits. So, as a health coach, I find most of my value in just helping people overcome obstacles, helping them get through places where they feel like they're stuck in their health. Everyone has a different journey. My different was vastly different than yours, Justin. But we all have different obstacles that we need to get through. And as a health coach, we get to be this person who is a cheerleader for that person. We get to celebrate the victories, but we also get to be there to hold them accountable and to help them get through things that they have been struggling with for a lifetime.
Absolutely. Yeah. You're definitely a great cheerleader for me, always encouraging me. So one of my questions is, what is the most rewarding part of your job? And like, what's that moment where you're like, yes, this is for me?
Oh man, dude, I could go on and on and on about what is rewarding about this. But to be honest, the biggest thing for me is just the way that people describe the way they feel once they get healthy. Like, I can't even tell you how many people I've worked with that just message me and like say, I haven't felt the energy to just jump out of bed in 10 years. Or I haven't felt like I looked in the mirror and I was happy with myself in 10 years. When you hear someone tell you that, you know, like, people get excited about losing weight. Don't get me wrong. They're like, "Yo, I'm 20 pounds down," and that makes me feel rewarded. I'm like, "Yeah, I helped you do that. And, now you're healthy." But it's that feeling that they tell me, the confidence. I get to hang out with my kids now. I can go on walks with my kids without panting and breathing. I used to be tired when I stood up off the couch, and now I can go out and run 3 miles around my neighborhood, and I can go hike the nearest mountain nearby me. Those are the things that really stick out to me. Have been the most rewarding. I've been able to, fortunate to help people off a lot of medication. People that are, type 2 diabetic, get off insulin, help people stop taking high blood pressure medication, you name it. That's been awesome. But I think just really helping people regain that confidence and that self-efficacy in themselves that they can actually accomplish and do things that are greater than themselves has been the most rewarding aspect of what I do.
Right. So it's almost like nutrition and getting that right really empowers you to take on your passions in your life. So I know for me, on my regard, it really kind of it empowered me. It gave me this feeling that I could accomplish anything because you do feel down about yourself when you're looking at yourself in the mirror and you know that it's not your best. And
Yeah.
that's really what drives you to do what you do. Am I right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's true. And what I've found, and you're a testament to it, my brother, but once you get control of your health, so many other dynamics in being healthy, being motivated, and being productive and confident, all these dominoes start to fall once you get your health correct. The rest of your body seems to fall in line and start working for you. And so that's what a big part of what we do is, getting your mind right, because once you get your mind and your body right, the rest of what you want to do and what you want to accomplish seems to just keep falling over with those dominoes.
Absolutely. So, for those listeners out there that seem a little bit skeptical and have tried like a bunch of different diet plans, and you talk about the mind and shifting that, but what advice or words of wisdom do you have on that regard?
Like in regards to what exactly?
In
Just getting
just
healthy?
in getting healthy and like maybe myth busting some of the things that people are out there on, just like what's really holding people back, because everyone
Yeah,
we've tried Nutrisystem, Bowflex, whatever it may be. A lot of people are frustrated and
yeah,
want to get healthy, but how do they really break through?
yeah. So, it's not gonna be a random moment of motivation. We know that motivation comes in like waves,
Hmm.
up and down, up and down. It can be different depending on the time of day or the week. It's not gonna be motivation that's gonna come. So, what it really looks like in regards to getting healthy is you just making the decision to move forward on it. So whatever, you've tried everything, you've tried all these approaches, but it's really making the decision to commit to a journey that is going to be either fast or slow, but you just commit yourself to a journey to learning and figuring out, what works for me. I know that with my program, a lot of people find it super simple and super easy to do. um, they love the fact that we incorporate, creating habits, and it's been, shown to help be more effective and help people lose weight, and also has been able to help people keep it off longer than other things. But if you're just an average person and you don't know what to do, my best advice for you is to just make one small habit that you can change right now to positively impact your health. And so for me, that could be, or so for anybody, that could be just drinking more water. I mean, water is one of the things that most people neglect. So just drinking more water, creating a better sleep schedule. When you start to make one habit, you start to believe that you can make another one happen and then another one happen. So when I work with people, I really specifically help them create one new healthy habit at a time. Um, a lot of times that help starts by me helping them get their nutrition correct. And then it's creates that catalyst. But it can look like that in a million different ways. In regards to the myths that are out there, there's a lot. I already kind of talked about exercise, and most people just want to go kill themselves in the gym. They just want to go. They think if they want to get healthy, they need to go run. But what's crazy about that is that most people need to lose a lot more than they think they do. And so, in each pound of fat that you have on your body, you have approximately 3,500 calories that you need to burn off to actually get that fat to go away. And so, what that looks like is burning a whole lot of calories each week. And, in somebody who is 50 pounds overweight, times that by 3,500, that's a significant amount of calories that they have to burn without changing their diet to lose that weight. So it can be this massive obstacle of it can almost be cumbersome. And truthfully, what you see is that it's not effective. The other myth that I see a lot is that people think that they just need to starve themselves to get healthy. I find that people will try many different things. They try intermittent fasting to reduce the amount of calories that they're eating in their day. People try the keto diet, um, trying to manipulate those macronutrients, but also eat less calories. And it gets to this point where they're starving themselves. Um, but what I found is that that's not the truth. Is that you need to fuel your body to get it to work correctly for you and to get weight loss to work correctly for you. Um, so that would be kind of the steps I'd say is just take make one healthy habit at a time to get yourself rolling.
Absolutely. So the first healthy habit that you say that got you sparked on your journey is nutrition, right?
Yep.
And I guess my question is a lot of people will have trouble with nutrition diving deeper. What do you say to your clients who are trying to be perfect, I guess, because it's really difficult to stay super regimented and really break a lot of these habits that you have made for so many years. So how does that mindset shift?
Yeah. So listen, everybody's journey is different. I tell people all the time, I say, listen, the view at the top of the mountain is exactly the same. You getting to your goal weight is still going to look the same. Doesn't matter how long it takes you to get there. We chase progress and not perfection. We mess up all the time. I still mess up. I've gotten to my goal weight, but I still slip up and break some of my habits sometimes. But that's not the point. It's about practicing to get better and better and better. So the shift in mindset is not necessarily, okay, I'm ready right now. I'm going to go take this thing on. Really, the shift in the mindset is just giving yourself up to the process of walking through this, being okay with some failures, but not giving up, keeping moving forward. When people are struggling, I tell them, and they make a mistake, they eat something they shouldn't do. They eat something for a week that they know they shouldn't do. I tell them it's okay. Don't give up on yourself. Get back on the bike and keep moving because the view at the top of the mountain is exactly the same. Let's keep working together.
That's awesome. So it's really, just focusing on making any progress is good progress, right? And honestly, being conscious that you shouldn't, be eating that or drinking that wine, whatever it may be, is also a step too, you
Yeah,
know. And it's first, recognizing it and being like, okay, maybe tomorrow I won't have this, this popcorn after dinner, whatever it may be. So that's
yeah,
great. It's just really just about kind of building momentum.
yeah,
And I know we've talked about it before. We've talked about Ed Milet talking about a wave crashing against, the rocks on a beach. And it's like slowly over time, the rocks shift. So that's kind of like your habits, every decision that you make eventually will trickle and affect your life.
exactly. And that's precisely why, diets are the way they are because people limit themselves. They constrict themselves on what they can eat for a certain period of time until they crack. And then when they go back to their normal life where they're not being this perfect thing, they go back to their old habits. So that's why it's so important, kind of like what you mentioned, to fix what you have up here by addressing those habits. The more times you fail and you can almost not be perfect, the better, because then you get to look at that habit that negative one that you have, and you get a chance to address it and you get a chance to fix it. And ultimately, that's what's going to create sustainability rather than just going through another diet, being on a perfect nutrition for a little bit, and then going back to the way that you were living before it.
Right. And Dr. A, who is really influential to you and myself, talks about these diets as yo-yos, right? We go on these diets, we lose all this weight, but we're not really picking up any good habits because then next thing you know, winter comes and we're eating away. But when you're creating these habits with your mind, you're able to really, create a life of sustainability. And sure, you
Yeah.
have a beer every now and again or whatever it may be. It's not about perfection, but it's about those little habits that really make your health what it is.
Yep. Exactly.
Sweet. Well, let's really kind of dive into where you're thinking in the future. And, you know, you're starting this health business, you're 23, right?
Yeah. 23
23,
years old.
only 23 years old. Talk about some of your visions for the future and health.
Yeah. So my so they're pretty huge. I consider myself a pretty massive dreamer. My mom and dad definitely taught me that. When it comes to the future of health and kind of what that looks like is right now we're living in a world where we're super reactive to disease, and we're not as much so on the prevention side. So a big thing of what, I look forward to in the future is really shifting the way that this country, shifting the dynamic that this country is moving towards. We have 70% of the US is obese and overweight. And that's a shocking number. Like, that's way bigger than any person would even imagine it to be. It's how do we get on the side to where we're really preventing against people being overweight, and the diseases and the health risks that come alongside being overweight. So I think I see the shift in this world, moving towards the preventative side, using nutritional intervention as a means to prevent these things from ever occurring, so that we don't have to utilize pharmaceuticals and hospitals to fight to save our lives, right? To give us another pill to keep us on insulin, right? To keep us on all these things. Like, I see the shift moving towards a preventative side, and that's really what I'm doing as a health coach. Is I'm able to help people figure that out for themselves, so that they can create habits in their life, create health, like get them to an optimal weight so that their body is fighting for them. And then it's giving them knowledge so that they can teach their kids and their future family, and they can help their family get healthy. It's about spreading it like this, uh, spreading it out through the person. And then also, it's about providing education for underserved communities and for children. Because I don't know about you, Justin, but when I was in high school, I didn't have access to a whole lot of nutrition information on, how to keep myself healthy. I was a football player who was told by my coaches, "Hey, just eat as much as you possibly can and lift weights." That was the only way I knew to be healthy. So it's by increasing the access to education to really help spread the knowledge, so that we can get this whole country healthy, and on a side that's really about preventing ourselves from getting sick.
That's fantastic. That's so awesome because part of the podcast, talks about education as well. So you're tying this public health piece with education, but we also have to face the fact that we are, you know, for lack of a better term, fighting a system that has ingrained people for so long to be reactive. But, one person at a time, it does take to, change and be proactive and get ahead of these diseases. Could COVID have been prevented from nutrition if we weren't eating bats? Potentially.
Yeah,
That's probably a different podcast conversation, but
sure.
really nutrition and being healthy is extremely important. So for, you say there's a Gen Zer or there's some youth listening to this podcast, what would you say to that youth that, because we were in the same situation where you're in high school, you're a 3-sport athlete, you're going to eat everything you can and, enjoy that, but also like what habits should, they be picking up?
Yeah. So my first thing for you Gen Zers out there would be just to start dabbling in some research on creating health in your life. I know for me, I didn't even think about it when I was young because, like I said, I was just in a way ignorant. I was invincible. I played so many sports that I just kept myself skinny. But I know there's a lot of you that are already struggling with your health. So just really put yourself out there to like start trying to learn aspects about nutrition, about healthy habits. Really take the time to focus on things like your sleep. I know when I was in high school, I didn't want to go to bed at a good time. I didn't think that sleep was something that really mattered to me. But there's little habits like that that are super important, because there's going to come a time in your life when your metabolisms are going to slow down, and you're going to create some unhealthy habits, whether that be through college or just getting older and older and getting busy. So it's super important to start really investing in yourself now, that so when those things do come, you have strategies in place to help you defend against the weight gain or the struggles in health that might come your way.
Absolutely, that's fantastic. And then you also touch on something about when you get older and you get busy. I think that's one of the biggest excuses you hear about people not wanting to get healthy is they say they don't have enough time. So how do you use that? How do you rebuke that?
Well, most of the time people think they just need to get in the gym. That's why they say they don't have time. They think they got to commit all this time. But the truth is, everybody, most people, unless they're starving themselves, they eat every single day. They eat all day long. And usually they have more than enough time they're committing to eating already that's gotten them in the unhealthy place they're at right now. So what I tell them is I help walk them through what that could look like for them and how they can make it, the time for it. I walk them through that, and I'm very compassionate with them. Most of the time, what I find is that it's just a barrier that they're just putting in place because they're really not ready to get healthy. They just, they're using time as an excuse. But ultimately, when you can really look at it, we can help make that work for their schedule.
Absolutely. And so you talk about, this barrier and they're not ready to get healthy. For those that are listening, when do they know that it's time, the right time for them to get healthy?
It literally is. It's not a feeling. It's not a aha moment. It's just when you're really ready to commit for your dreams. And honestly, sometimes that can look like getting to a really bad place in your health, and that's what makes you realize you need to get healthy. Um, I've worked with a lot of people, and um, those who have gone on journeys, and even with strategies in place and solid nutrition in place, some people just aren't willing to change. Um, and so it's not necessarily a feeling. It's just what are you trying to create? It's what do you want to create in your what in your health, in your goals, and then what is your why behind that? Once you know what you want to create and why you want to do it, that tends to be okay. Now I'm ready because I can understand what this journey means to me. And sometimes that takes you just wanting to gain. You want to lose some weight, and you reach out to somebody, and they get to show you what's possible, and that awakens inside of you. Okay, this is something that I really want, something that I need. So I wouldn't say there's a set moment. I think that we all have different times in our lives when we're ready or not. Um, but ultimately, like I said, it's not a moment, it's not a time. It's just that when you're ready, you'll just know.
Absolutely. And I heard you touch a little bit on this about like the why, and people talk about the why quite a bit. And you can talk about the superficial why, and it's great to feel like more energy, but like why do you want to have more energy? What really drives you to like feel healthy and vibrant and like want to jump out of bed? Like why?
Yeah, no, it's super huge, man. It's the driving force behind keeping you going. I know that for me, like, why do I continue to stay healthy? Because I want to be the best one. I want to be the best CEO of my own business and help the most amount of people. I want to keep the energy. Like, I feel amazing ever since I got myself healthy. So I want to keep feeling amazing, being confident about myself. When I think about my why for why I want to help people, I want people to feel the exact same way I do. And I know that if I'm not a representation of health, then I don't get to show people what's possible. And so your why is so important because it roots you to the main reason that you're doing something. Um, a lot of people can look at it like, I want to get healthy. Okay. Why? I want to look good in a bikini. I want to look good when I go to the beach, right? That's simple, but something as simple as that can be a driving force that keeps you going when your motivation isn't there.
I know that one of my big reasons for why I wanted to lose weight is yes, I wanted to create all this great energy, but the reason I wanted to create great energy is so I could start a podcast and have the courage to do that, to keep going on my blog, to inspire my family to get healthy as well so we can, live for as long as we can because we really only have a finite amount of time on earth and I want to make every single moment of that count if I can and you know
Yeah.
not every moment is the best moment ever, of course, as we both know. And I'm extremely privileged and still probably don't know, I haven't really faced a lot of tragedy in my life, but I still want to make every single moment count that I can. And I know when I'm feeling healthy, I have my sleep, and I'm just like doing mentally well. It just brings me a lot more joy in my life, and I can chase my purpose, which, provides me a lot more fulfillment.
Yeah. And it's been so great, man, to see you walk through that. And really, like I talked about the dominoes earlier, it really set you up on a catalyst to pursue other things and gave you that self-efficacy that you could do more just by getting your body to work for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, part of the Better World Humans podcast and Better World Challenge is really about health and community. So, how are you trying to, you've definitely touched on it a little bit, but really spread either through your community, the digital community? What does the word health and community mean to you?
Yeah, so I could go in so many directions with this, but I think healthy community in itself is a word you could put them together. Healthy community is huge. We know that we become who like the people that we surround ourselves with. And when it comes to getting healthy, that's also extremely important. So um, the kind of how I work with it is I want to create um, I want to create an environment around myself that's healthy. So if that's telling my family and friends what matters to me, getting them on board so that they can make a conducive environment for me to be healthy. That's kind of what it is. But also, like a huge part of that too is like giving back to our communities. I know that for me in my the community that I grew up in, like it's a very unhealthy community. There's not a lot of people there. There's a lot of people there that are struggling in their health, and so part of that is giving back. And I know that there's a lot of underserved communities who are also really struggling with their health. So part of that is just giving them a fighting chance through giving them access to education. With my business, we believe that like every person has the ability to create those healthy habits in their life if they have the chance. So kind of what we do is we have this it's a program called Healthy Habits for All. And basically the idea is to empower future generations to create healthy habits through that education and access. So part of that is using the knowledge and the education system that we use through our program to help them to help children learn to adopt healthy habits. And then also, that's about providing resources to children that maybe don't have a way to make those healthy habits a reality. So that's partnering with people in our community to raise funds so that we can give them healthy foods, um, go and work along those environments and really just work side by side with those children or with people in their community, like their parents, and really help them understand the importance of nutrition and why it's important to fuel their kids with good foods. So yeah, that's kind of what health and community mean to me.
Yeah, that's fantastic because I think oftentimes advertisers are really targeting some of these underserved and marginalized communities with all this, crap, Coca-Cola, whatever it may be. But when you come in and, you provide education, it, gives people a fighting chance. Just hopefully one day we can start moving the table forward and having, more nutritional food be um, a little more affordable. I think that is oftentimes sometimes a little barrier, when it's like
Hmm.
convenient and affordable to go to McDonald's and get a $5 thing, $5 Big Mac, whatever it may be. But, if you teach them the skills that in an hour or 30 minutes you can potentially, create this healthy meal, it could really spark change and help people, move out of being in these underserved communities and helping themselves within their areas.
Exactly, my friend. Exactly.
That's fantastic. Sweet. So, as we are wrapping up with this podcast, what are some of like, if there was like one thing you wanted a listener to take away from this, what do you think that would be?
Yeah, I mentioned it earlier. It's just focus on making one positive change in your habits that you can do right now. It's like I'm sure that, for most of you that are listening to this, there's one thing that's being highlighted and becoming a reality that you're thinking about literally right now. Whether that's you're drinking too much soda, you're staying up way too late at night, you're not drinking any water, that your nutrition is way out of whack. Um, Maybe you don't stretch enough or you don't go on walks. Maybe you're not taking care of your mind. But whatever it is that you struggle with, just take one step forward in the right direction towards just fixing one habit. And that one step will create a catalyst so that you will take another step and another step. And soon you'll be trying to accomplish all of your habits. You'll start to try to accomplish creating healthy habits in all aspects of your life. So that would be what I'd want you guys to walk away with.
That's fantastic. And, if people want to know more about you, where can they find you on social media or your business if they want to get healthy or even help people get healthy?
Yeah, so you guys can connect with me via Facebook or Instagram. My handle for Instagram is at Kayden Echols. And you can look me up on Facebook at Kayden Echols. Send me a message if you need any advice, if you want to get healthy yourself. Um, but that'll be the two main places you can reach out to me. Of
Awesome, Caden. Well, thanks. It's been a great first episode ever of the Better World Humans, and I really appreciate your time.
course, thanks so much for having me on.
Yeah, of course. Talk soon.
Talk with you soon, brother.